I am Kim Rivers. I am the CEO of Trulieve. We are the first and largest medical cannabis company in the state of Florida, and are proud to now be listed on the CSE as of September of last year. And since have made acquisitions into 2 additional states, California and Massachusetts. And excited to be here with you today. By largest, what do I mean by that? So we have approximately 65% of the market in Florida. That's measured by actual milligrams dispensed on a week-over-week basis by the Department of Health. We are very vertically integrated in the state of Florida, and so in the state of Florida, it's different than a lot of other markets, certainly California, the gentleman before me, in that it is strict vertical integration. So we are required to actually own and operate every single piece of the supply chain. There is no wholesaling in Florida, and so what has that forced us to do? It's forced us to become experts in each part of that supply chain. Which we now believe we can take that expertise to other markets that we enter. I mentioned Massachusetts and California. One differentiating factor is that we are actually a profitable public company in this space. So we do believe that there is a way to actually have successful and profitable growth, and that those things are not mutually exclusive. So speaking of the supply chain, as I mentioned, we have to be very cognizant of the fact that everything that we want to sell has to come from plants that we grow. So we are, in fact, limited in what we can sell by what we can grow. So it isn't just a matter of putting up retail stores, but it's also a matter of, again, building that entire supply chain. So to that end, on the cultivation front, we have over 638,000 square feet of current active cultivation square footage in Florida. We're producing over 29,000 kilograms. We have a very robust product line with over 170 SKUs that we're manufacturing out of our state-of-the-art GMP certified 55,000 square feet manufacturing facility. And then we sell those products through our distribution channels into our 27 brick and mortar stores. We opened number 27 on Tuesday, so that was really exciting. And then or through home delivery. So we do have home delivery that we operate in Florida. We're next day throughout the entire state. By the way, we've offered delivery since day one, and we were delivering from Tallahassee to Key West. So we were very motivated to get our distribution platform built out and those stores built out very quickly. We are, of course, continuing to grow. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Florida market, so Florida, really big state, 21 million people. It's the fastest growing medical program in the country. So we are onboarding patients into our program at a rate of 3,000 patients per week. By the way, a couple weeks ago, that was 2,000 patients per week, but then smokable flower was allowed into our marketplace, and we're seeing that anticipated uptick in patient growth. So 3,000 new patients per week entering our program. What does that mean? It means that we have to keep going in terms of capacity, right? So to that end, we're going to continue to build out. We're building another 72,000 square feet Q2. That'll bring us to 8,581 additional kilograms of capacity. We'll be at over 50,000 kilograms easy by the end of the year. We have to be, because our Trulievers are not going to put up with us not having products in our stores, right? So in terms of extraction, in Florida, we're only allowed to do ethanol or CO2 right now. Butane, hydrocarbon, not allowed. So all the products I'm about to put up, those are all made either ethanol or CO2. Butane and hydrocarbons have been legislated for, but rules haven't been developed. We're sitting on go on a blast facility, so we're ready whenever that's ready. And trust me, we would love to be able to make shatter and crumble, not using ethanol. Trust me. The other thing I'll mention is edibles. Edibles currently are not allowable in Florida. However, same scenario, they've been legislated for. We're sitting on a very large state-of-the-art kitchen, fully ready to go, and we'll launch with a full edibles product line, which I think is going to happen later this year, based on feedback that I'm getting from the Department of Health. So, what is our product line? What do we look like? So earlier, actually at the end of fourth quarter, we really started thinking about this whole concept of what is Trulieve, not just in Florida, but what is Trulieve beyond Florida? We're very cognizant of the fact that Trulieve branded stores with only Trulieve branded products, it's not going to cut it. Right? Let's be honest, consumers want choice and they want variety in the branding. And there's a lot of really awesome brands out there that have developed names for themselves, particularly on the West Coast. So kind of 2 philosophies in this market, the way I see it. There's East Coast philosophy, right? Really kind of strict, strict rollout, control over the supply chain, very regimented, right? That's one model. Then you got West Coast, brand central, decentralized model, lots of kind of activity and cottage industries, right, that pop up, which is awesome in and of itself. So how do we, as a multi-state operator, build a platform that can appeal to both of those segments of the market, right? It's like, I feel like sometimes I'm in a gang war. It's like East versus West, right? So how can we kumbaya, right, and all come together? So in thinking about that, we thought, okay, we need to think about brands and brand strategy a different way, while also making sure that we're doing it in a way that is profitable and protecting our margin. So we came up with this 3-tier brand strategy. Quite frankly, we stole it from Whole Foods. So just be honest. So Whole Foods, right, they've got their own 365 brand, right? We've got our Trulieve products. That's our house brand. And so the products you see up here are house branded Trulieve products. We're going to further segment that market and these brands throughout this year. So we're going to launch a new user suite of brands. When you go into a store, y'all, it's overwhelming. If you don't know what you're doing in cannabis and you walk into one of these locations and there's stuff everywhere, you're like, where do I go? What do I turn? So we're going to have a curated product line just for those new users. Then we'll have kind of the everyday product line. Majority of these will fall into that. Then you're going to have the bumped up product line, right? The luxury line that you want to bust out when you have friends over on a Friday night. So that's how we're going to segment out our brands. And then where do we go from there? So our second tier of brands are strategic partnerships, what we think are best-in-class brands, primarily from West Coast markets, okay? Listen, if you've survived as a brand, and not only survived, but if you've won awards and you're noted as best-in-class in those markets, you've got something. I mean, I'm sorry, but you've got something. And so we've been pursuing those brands and having conversations and reaching agreements that we've announced over Q4 and Q1 with the following providers. So best-in-class, multiple award winners up here. You guys probably are familiar with a lot of them. The final brand on this slide you may not be familiar with, which is Sunshine Cannabis. So when, again, we're thinking about, okay, we're taking this concept across the country, what resistance, what pushback are we gonna see? And a question I get asked a lot, yeah, that's fine, Kim, home turf, Florida, fine. How are you gonna gain that same relationship with customers quickly when you're entering a market that you don't know? And I said, that's a great point. How can we bring and build authenticity, which is important in this business, to a market fast? And so again, Whole Foods, when they go into a market, they have a local product fair. They invite local brands to come in and pitch them so that when you go into a Whole Foods, there's some familiarity. Oh, look, it's Pete's Peanuts. They're at Whole Foods. I love Pete's Peanuts. I'm gonna go get some for the game, right? So you're going to your Whole Foods instead of stopping by on the side of the road to pick up your peanuts, right? So same concept. We test marketed it, Sunshine Cannabis. Sunshine Cannabis guys, awesome guys, 2 guys. They've been really involved in the legalization movement for a very long time in Florida. Hippie kind of branded, very different audience than, say, a Kim Rivers Trulieve would attract, right? Focused on Florida genetics and strains that, strain profiles in Florida. So we've launched 2 products with them so far, Gainesville Green and Sunshine Kush. Within 48 hours, both products sold out. Okay, so their audience, all of a sudden, guess what? Now they're Trulievers. And they're marketing for us. Not only that, what's awesome about these guys is they're taking 20% of their fee, of the royalty, the proceeds that they're getting from sales, they're putting it right back into the ballot initiative for recreational legalization in Florida. So that's a win-win, right? So we think that we've got that model and that we'll be able to replicate that as we go into other states. And again, it's all about building that long-lasting, authentic relationship with the customer. My clicker stopped working. There we go. So we do deliver. We have a fleet of over 68 cars on the road at any given time. Again, it's next day. We're going to kind of play around with that platform a little bit this year. We're going to try to move to same day. My team freaks out a little bit when I say that, but we are. And we also are going to work in a subscription model. Again, just starting to understand, because now we have this huge platform that we can do scaled R&D with, right? And again, get those data points back and see how we can apply that to other markets. We do have a fully staffed call center. It's important for us to meet our customer where they are. So that call center receives over 1,700 calls a day. Why do we have a call center? When we first opened our store in Florida, we had over 200 calls in like the first 3 hours. So we realized that people want information. They want to talk to somebody, right? And especially in the over 50 crowd, Florida, They're not so comfortable opening the laptop all the time. They want to call. We have a grandma that calls at 11 a.m. every Monday to talk to her favorite call center representative. It's adorable. So we need to have that human connectivity and touch point. We've got a lot of patients, Trulievers. On average, they are very loyal, and we love that loyalty. They're coming back 1.98 times per month. We do have industry-leading education support. I encourage you guys, if you're interested in what we do, follow us on either Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Our marketing team's amazing. We have a loyalty program. It's called Trulievers. I know that's surprising. And over 670,000 face-to-face contacts last year. So speaking of social media, we have over 70,000 followers on Facebook, 17,800 on Instagram, and 5,360 on Twitter. The important thing about this isn't so much about the number of followers you have, because I think you can gin that up kind of artificially if you really want to, but it's, again, that authentic and connected relationship. If you go on there, if we post something, people are passionate. I mean, they're telling us what they think. We're having back and forth conversations. We answer all of our Facebook messages in about 5 minutes. So it's an engaged and connected community. What does that mean? It means it's going to be really hard for someone to come in and take that customer away from us, right? Because they feel loyal and they feel a connection with who we are. And by the way, we're very connected to them. So email marketing, another example. Over 77% of our folks have actively opted into email. And again, we have an over 40% email open rate. By the way, that's huge. Most industries are less than 5%, like way less than 5%. So for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with that stat, and we have over 27% customer text opt-in. Why is that important? Why do I care? I care because social media can change the rules of the game at any given time. I don't know if any of you have experienced, we've certainly experienced where Facebook decided to shut our page down, Instagram, Twitter, you just never know. So this protects us in our customer communication abilities. We have an app, it's pretty cool, check it out. We do 20 to 30 community events per month. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, first of all, you better believe that we will protect this house. So in terms of Florida is an incredible market. We just won a lawsuit against the state of Florida that granted us the opportunity to open 14 more dispensaries above the stated cap. So all of our competitors can open 35 right now, we can open 49. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So we are gonna continue to grow in Florida. We're gonna continue to grow the supply chain out in Florida. That means we have to increase our cultivation, et cetera, et cetera. But we do recognize, right, one of the reasons, quite frankly, that we decided to go public, because we were just as profitable, when we weren't public as now when we are, is to basically take this show on the road. We believe that we proved our thesis that you could actually build a scaled and profitable cannabis company and actually build brand connectivity via market penetration. Very different model than a lot of other folks, which is totally okay because there's room in this industry, by the way, for lots of different models, and it's okay. So what did we do and how did we do it? The first thing that we did is we said, okay, Massachusetts is a really interesting market to us. I think it's an interesting market to a lot of folks. Had a couple of opportunities. We could have bought a business in Massachusetts and paid really tons and tons of money for it, which quite frankly, we weren't ready to stomach. And so we decided we were gonna build it organically. We see an opportunity there. There's a huge supply issue in Massachusetts, for those of you who are familiar. So we bought a license that had, first and foremost, a really big grow and a really good location. So we have 126,000 square foot grow in Massachusetts. We closed on the deal in December, final permitting on Monday of next week with the community. We're building that out this year, and we'll immediately begin, we'll actually have a store open at the same time, but we'll wholesale the rest. They're getting like $3,500 a pound there. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you do that? And then in addition to that, we'll be building another 2 stores. You'll see revenue from Mass hit in 2020. California is a total R&D play for us, okay? We know that we don't know. Is what I can tell you in California, right? You just heard the speaker before me talk about it's night and day coming from Florida to the California market. So we wanted a location that quite frankly was in a competitive market with interesting demographics. Palm Springs provides both. One, the demographic. They have a very, very large festival customer base that comes every year. That brings a young, recreational-focused demographic, but their stable population is very similar to Florida, right? Kind of 50-ish crowd. And so we're gonna have a frontline seat to what's working, what's not working. We're gonna try this with the store layout there as opposed to what we do in Florida. We're gonna go through and have access to a lot of brands that we can wholesale there that we don't have access to in Florida. What's selling, what's not selling? It is not like, it's not overcomplicated. It's simply an R&D location for us. We close on the last 20% of that deal in Q2. We haven't done anything with it until we own it because that's business. And then in Q3 and 4, we'll be repositioning the store. We own the plaza. We're building out the half that is vacant now, and we're gonna basically move ops there. It comes with a delivery license, so that'll be really interesting for us to see what we can do with the delivery license there once we activate it as well. Everyone needs a California play. We recognize that, but we wanna learn a little bit about it before we just go in full throttle. Okay, the fun part, numbers. As you all may have heard, we just had our Q4 year-end earnings call. We posted $102.8 million in revenue and $45.6 million in EBITDA, with $68.6 in gross profit, 44.4% margin in EBITDA. We're very proud about that. We work very hard to make sure that, again, we are bringing dollars to the bottom line. We generate approximately $7 million a month that we put right back into the business. This is a quarter-over-quarter highlight. So our revenue grew from 28.3 to 35.9, and adjusted EBITDA increased from 12.6 to 15.2. Again, there is a way in this industry to build a company that can grow and remain profitable. It's highly disciplined, and you have to focus on, again, that supply chain and making sure that you are guarding your margin. So, again, a little bit of a different philosophy, but one that has been successful for us. And I would just close to say that at the end of the day, I believe very strongly that the relationship with the customer is incredibly important. But in order to have a really solid relationship with that customer, it's more than just the retail experience. It's the product that they take home and the experience that they have with that product and the connectivity that they feel with the brand, that you're going to stand behind it and that you're going to be there for them time after time after time again. So that repeatable and loyal customer is really the key. So with that, I talked really fast to try and leave time for questions. Am I over?
3 minutes.
I'm over by 3 minutes? I have 3 minutes. Okay. So we'll take quick questions. And I've got to catch up late.
I wondered how the dispensary in the Villages was doing.
Oh.
Compared to the other.
Yeah, so the dispensary, wow. Okay, so the dispensary in the Village, I believe, is a mid-tier dispensary for us. And on average, our dispensaries run at about $6 million a year. So it's a middle of the packer for us. Yeah, I'm sorry.
What do you charge for delivery?
We charge $25 for delivery, and we are playing around with that as well. So we're looking at some models right now with whether or not we want to do like a minimum order for a lower, or for our VIP Trulievers, if we want to offer some sort of an incentive program, et cetera, for them on that. Really, we don't make any, we lose money on that $25. It doesn't cover the delivery fee. We're required in Florida to have 2 people in the car. They have to be our employees at all times per delivery. So it's a bit, and yeah, it's a bit of a interesting part of the business. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the delivery model? Do those trucks all have to start at one location, or can you have them?
No, it's hub and spoke. It's hub and spoke. We do a hub and spoke model. So we have certain stores that have more room, quite frankly, and more inventory room availability, which we strategically place, that we've assigned basically as delivery hubs for us across the state. And then it's a hub and spoke. So, but we have complete overlap again of the state. And so we're really excited. We've got a Key West location on the board, and we're so excited to have a Key West location, because that drive across Alligator Alley can be a little long.
So does the package have to come from the hub into the car, or can the car have extra supplies, so if somebody called you when they're out delivering in Key West?
No, you have to have a transportation manifest that's very specific. So you can't have it like a mobile store to pull inventory from. Yeah, that doesn't work. So it has to be fully manifested, and in the event that they were pulled over, they would be expected to have a full delivery schedule with that inventory assigned before they left the hub. Yes?
Hi, has the legalization of flower in Florida, can you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about how that kind of affected the business, even though it's been a short period of time?
Yeah, it's been a really short period of time. So we were the first in Florida to make a flower sale that happened on March 18th. Quite frankly, we thought it was going to be a little longer for them to roll that out. So law passed March 15th, and then it was signed on March 17th, and then we made the sale on March 18th is how that went. Normally there's rulemaking and a bunch of other stuff, but that's great. So sales have ramped dramatically since then on the flower category. So previously we sold dried flower in a tamper-proof cup intended for vaporization. So we had been selling flour, which we had kind of negotiated with the legislature to allow us to do previously, and that was about 12%, just to level set you. We are approaching 30% of flour sales, but I will say I'm not sure yet how much is pent-up demand, how much is going to be study use. Like I'm not sure yet. There's not enough data points. We are also, like I said, seeing that ramp in patient entry, which we think is flour-driven. Everybody else? 42 seconds. We good? All right, y'all. Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.